Kamala Harris, the first woman of color to be nominated for president, is only the second woman to come this close to the White House. Despite the historic nature of her campaign, Harris has consciously avoided making her identity a focal point. In a recent CNN interview, she stated, "I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment for all Americans, regardless of race and gender." Yet, gender remains a central theme in this election, regardless of Harris's intentions. The prospect of a Madam President is a new idea for the U.S., one that excites many but also makes some uneasy. Although her campaign won't directly address it, one official acknowledged that hidden sexism could be a factor for certain voters. In today's climate, few will openly say a woman isn't fit for the Oval Office, but gendered language and online backlash reveal underlying discomfort. The Trump campaign dismisses gender as irrelevant, asserting that Americans will reject Harris because she's weak, dishonest, and dangerously liberal. However, senior advisor Brian Lanza privately remarked that the male gender gap gives us the edge in November. In 2016, Hillary Clinton's candidacy was also affected by her gender. As the first female nominee from a major party, her slogan, "I'm with her," underscored the historic moment. Pennsylvania Congresswoman Madeleine Dean recalls that, at the time, many voters expressed an ineffable something about Clinton, which she later realized was rooted in her being a woman. Dean believes biases may be less pronounced today, but some still view a powerful woman as a bridge too far. Since Clinton's run, cultural shifts, especially the Me Too movement, have highlighted discrimination across industries. While these changes may have contributed to Harris's nomination, they've also stirred new tensions. For some, progress in diversity, equity, and inclusion feels threatening, especially among young men and those with conservative values. This election could become a symbolic referendum on gender roles and recent social changes, especially for young men grappling with these shifts. John Della Volpe, a polling expert, explains that young men increasingly feel overlooked or judged for raising questions on gender issues. Frustration draws many to bro cultures, around figures like Trump or Elon Musk, where they question the Democrats' focus on women's and LGBTQ rights, asking, "What about us?" Della Volpe clarifies that these young men aren't extremists but are familiar faces, sons, neighbors, who largely support gender equality but feel neglected. Statistics show young men today face unique hurdles. They are less likely to be in relationships, their college enrollment is dropping, and they experience higher suicide rates compared to women. Meanwhile, young women are progressing in education and career fields, outpacing men in many ways. Since Trump's election, Gallup notes that young women have become increasingly liberal, deepening the gender divide. In fact, the percentage of young men who feel the U.S. has gone too far with gender equality has more than doubled in recent years. Sensing this frustration, Trump has appealed to male discontent, ramping up a focus on masculinity in his final campaign weeks. Recently, he even joked about golf legend Arnold Palmer's anatomy as an ode to traditional masculinity, challenging the limits of political correctness. Democrats, meanwhile, are countering male discontent with tough love. Barack Obama recently hinted that some men may be uncomfortable with a woman president, while actor Ed O'Neill urged, "Be a man, vote for a woman," in a TV ad. As the election nears, gender has become a complex underlying theme. Trump has embraced masculinity as a campaign highlight, while Harris rarely mentions gender. A recent poll shows Trump leading among men by 14 points, while Harris leads women by 12. Ultimately, this divide between men and women could prove decisive,